Mobil 1 Rally Challenge is a 5-round competition aimed at finding rallying's most versatile driver. So 6 world-class drivers get tested on forest and tarmac stages in 5 different top-flight rally cars. At the wheel of the Subaru in the opening round in Wales, Pentti Ricola found his time of 2 minutes 6 seconds, matched by the former world champion Stig Blomqvist.
Here, right, Max, 40.
Then along came Britain's Malcolm Wilson to make it a 3-way tie for the lead after stage 1. Staying in touch, though, ladies world champion Louise Aitken-Walker, British champion David Llewellyn, and Alex Fiorio, former works driver for the world's top team. A team that's combined Italian passion with Scandinavian daring to win no less than 7 world titles. Round 2 of the Rally Challenge is with Lancia.
Figaro, son qua, hey, Figaro, son qua, Figaro qua, Figaro là, Figaro qua, Figaro là, Figaro su, Figaro giù, Figaro su, Figaro giù, blocco prontissimo sotto un fulmine, suona il fagoto della città, della città, della città, della città, della città. Ah, bravo Figaro, bravo bravissimo, ah, bravo Figaro. Bravo, bravissimo, fortunatissimo, 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 per verità. Ah, bravo Figaro, bravo, bravissimo. Ah, bravo Figaro, bravo, bravissimo. A te fortuna, a te fortuna, a te fortuna non mancherà. Sono il fagoto della città. Sono il fagoto della città, della città, della città, della città.
Martini Lancia, a car and a contract that's the ambition of most drivers in the World Championship. Now 6 world-class drivers will be behind the wheel of the Lancia down Gale Rig amid the breathtaking countryside of North Yorkshire. Very familiar rallying country for both the British Championship and the Lombard RAC Rally. Well, you can tell from the map that the 2.23 miles are going to be fast, an awkward series of bends shortly after the start, awkward because they're on tarmac, and a jump at the fastest part of the stage just before the finish, and that's really going to test the courage of these drivers. The first appearance of the world champions in a British forest for 2 years, Lancia having missed the 1989 RAC Rally, and for the likes of Malcolm Wilson, a lot to learn.
It's a four-wheel drive car, but it's a transverse engine mounted, so I would think the handling characteristics will be more like a front-wheel drive car. So I think it'll be a little bit different. I mean, the Subaru's obviously the north-south facing engine, so handle it a little bit differently. So I think Alex should have a slight advantage, really. I mean, he's been driving one of the last few years, so. But it's a quick stage, and there's a lot of loose stones, and I think fortunately I'm running at the last on the road, which will definitely help, I think. So we'll just see what happens. I mean, I prefer the quick stuff. I enjoy the fast type stages. I think this is quite demanding. It's very, very quick. The old braking distance and things like that will be quite critical down the hill, and especially on the tarmac. So I think it's probably a bit more demanding than Wales, with a bit of tarmac in the middle and some high speed, some steep downhill stuff. It's going to be quite a challenge. The thing is, we don't really know how well a Lancia car jumps. I mean, for instance, I could bring the Ford down here and I would know exactly what sort of speed I could go over there. But something like this in a strange car, which you're going to be doing over 100 miles an hour, if you don't get the jump right, or the car doesn't handle how you think it will, obviously you're going to be in big trouble. So, you know, probably the first time on the practice run, to try sort of 70–80% over it to see what the response is from the car.
Apart from Fiorio, Pentti Ricola is the only man with any kind of Lancia experience. He uses the car in his advanced driving school and drove a privately entered Lancia to a very fine 4th place in the 1988 Lombard RAC Rally. Conditions were slightly different then, but it was Gale Rig that ruined his chances of an even higher placing.
I crashed in this very same state, so this time I hope to try better. It's actually finishing line now this time in this event, is where I went off. Managed to carry on and finished 4th.
In dieser Woche bringen wir den direkten.
So a completely new experience for at least 4 of the challenge drivers. Louise Aitken-Walker, the most apprehensive.
I'll start that stage and I'll not know what's happening to me, because these things are so exhilarating, you know, to drive. and just the experience to have four-wheel drive, you know, it must be a help. So I just drive this thing as best I can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! 50, short narrow, slight right and flat left.
Off the start line, Louise Aiken-Walker, the ladies' world champion, co-driver Christina Torner, going first on the stage by virtue of their 6th place after the opening round in Penmackle. The field now going in reverse order. And especially in these forest stages, going first can be a real disadvantage. The stage still with a lot of loose gravel that you're merely sweeping away for the later runners.
13. But
at this part of the stage, the surface gives way to around 400 yards of tarmac, and the handling of the car changes dramatically, and this section of Gale Rig requires real caution.
Flat right and right entry, long 90 right. 50. Quick left and flat right. Quick left 30.
Heading back onto the gravel now, no real dramas so far, but what a car this is to get used to. 6-speed gearbox, 4-wheel drive, something around 280 horsepower, and they've only had one practice run down this stage to learn what it's all about. They're well past the midpoint of the stage now. It's not going to be a quick time. Drivers earlier talking about 2 minutes 6 or 2 minutes 7 possibly being the target. The main ambition for Louise in this car is to keep it neat, keep it tidy, and not to make the kind of big mistake which would mean her losing touch with the rest overall. So easy to do in a sprint event. Even taking things carefully, up around 85, 90 miles an hour, and not far away from the jump, but the bravest of the rest will be taking absolutely flat out just a little bit later. Louise not quite getting airborne there, but keeping it in line, that's the main thing. And now it's just a short sprint to the finish. That was the co-driver's estimate. Official time, 2:15.
First time I've had a car driving me through this stage, I'll tell you. That was like really exciting. Devastated with the speed and the power.
Not really testing the speed and the power, though, to the maximum over the jump. How about British champion David Llewellyn? He's next to go.
Where it is fast, it is very fast. And of course, you've got that jump at the end there where all of us are scratching our heads to know whether we can go flat out over it or not. So that'll be interesting to see who's who's the brave man. But no, it won't be me.
Go. 70, caution, 3 right narrows.
Well, despite what he says, it's not in David Llewellyn's nature not to try as hard as he possibly can, especially as he finds himself back in 5th position after a few problems in the opening round in the Subaru. Brian Thomas is co-driver.
Caution, and long 5 right, double tighten, very late.
Llewellyn, in fact, 5 seconds behind the trio of leaders after that opening round. Quite a bit to make up. 3 rounds remaining after this. The Vauxhall Nova in neighbouring Wycombe Forest is next, and then the competition heads to the tarmac stages on the Isle of Man. And we're on tarmac now, that awkward section where the British champion has to be careful.
30, 6 left, tighten, 50.
And you can tell he's taking a more aggressive line than Louise Aiken-Walker, staying a little wide, very wide there, and really having to work very hard. Good to see Llewellyn even briefly in World Championship machinery. For so long he's been waiting for an opportunity for a concerted World Championship campaign. This isn't it, but for the 1991 season he's got a works drive with Nissan, and the World Championship teams will really get a chance to see what he can do. Now this ridge is the first checkpoint where we can match Llewellyn's time against that of Louise, and comfortably quicker, 5 seconds quicker to there.
Early, 1 left, 130. Long open left, tightens late into 2 left. Open right, 30.
Going hard through this middle section. No real place for the driver to relax. It's downhill all the way. Second checkpoint coming up now. And 140. Well, surprisingly, he hasn't picked up any time on Louise. Now there's a very awkward corner coming up now. It's important to get the line right here. And Llewellyn hit something very, very hard on the inside, and the car got quite a bit out of shape, possibly up on two wheels there, and that's upset the rhythm a bit. Rather tentative over the jump.
One right, narrow, 30.
The finish is coming up. Louise's target of 2 minutes 15 seconds. Well, he's 7 seconds inside that. But well, at one point there, he almost put the car in the trees.
What did it go, was it?
No.
Hey?
No.
What was it?
I thought it was about 8. But
Oh, that bump had us that time, right?
it did, didn't it? Put us right across.
2 minutes 8 seconds, the time for Llewellyn, but here's the moment that frightened the life out of them and possibly cost them a far better time. There's a dip on the inside of the bend just coming up here. And Llewellyn hits it very hard, and it's a moment or two before the car is back on four wheels.
We had a bit of a moment there. Just it's before the jump, on a right-hand bend. There's a dip on the inside now. And it just threw the car right up onto two wheels and went right onto the outside of the bend and up the outside. And so I'd ease off, get her on the correct side for the jump, which meant easing off and, you know, to take the jump straight so you don't end up in the bushes. So, yeah, we lost a handful, I suppose, 2 seconds for us. But there we are, we're here. Just.
So all a bit exciting for David Llewellyn and for Louise Aitken-Walker. Now, in theory, how it should be done. Lancia Works driver Alex Fiorio, second for Lancia in the 1989 World Championship. And you don't have to speak Italian to understand from co-driver Luigi Pirolo that they're going to be trying very, very hard. Just coming into the switchback series of corners, just under a mile into the stage, and Pirolo seemed to be giving the signal for Fiorio to slow down at one point there. Quite understandable. Now coming up here, the gravel stage goes briefly onto tarmac, and this is very easy to get wrong. Fiorio, a quick tweak on the handbrake, and it looks as if he did get it wrong, sliding the tail out, and I'm sure a second or so is gone there, chiefly because it upsets the line so much for the next section. First checkpoint, remember, Llewellyn was through there in 1 minute 9 seconds. It's coming up now, and Fiorio is a second slower, so although he's going hard, this car perhaps isn't giving him quite the advantage he hoped for. So no doubt all-out attack now down to the second checkpoint, and Llewellyn was through that in 1 minute 40. Once again, speeds hovering around 100 miles an hour. And the next check will be around this corner that's coming up now. And Fiorio has clawed back 2 seconds on that section, 1:39. Next problem for the Italian, heading through the corner that gave Llewellyn problems. Now, with his works experience, he should have the confidence to keep his foot hard down over the jump. 4 wheels off the ground, the car stays in line, and a storming finish here by Fiorio. And just in that short section, he's picked up 2 seconds on Llewellyn and sets the new target of 2 minutes 6 seconds.
06 is good, but I think they could do less, because every time you pass it, the road is clean, and so, but it's good.
Loose gravel, still a problem then, but ironically it was the tarmac that cost him most time.
A bit handed, did it? Came off the power, came off the power.
Everything under control though as Fiorio attacked that final section. This is how brave the others have to be to better his time of 2 minutes 6 seconds. Drivers gone, with Alex Fiorio, as expected, setting the standard. But now it's the 3 drivers who are tied for the lead after the first stage of the Mobil 1 Rally Challenge. Pentti Ricola, first of all.
But it looked good, it came out very well.
Yeah, I came out, but I entered very slow.
Wow. Better than too fast.
So the quandary for Pentti is how to handle that tarmac corner. This was Fiorio's approach.
My co-driver and some other co-drivers, we were taking times there, and it's difficult because it's one of those decisions with junction here, whether you to use a handbrake or not to use a handbrake. I choose to use a handbrake, and I drove earlier in the morning. Alex did it first practice run, and the clock told that with the handbrake it was quicker, so I probably will use also the handbrake. So we shall see how it goes.
So the tactics worked out. It's Auricola with co-driver John Meadows out to break the deadlock at the top of the Rally Challenge leaderboard.
50, right 4, loves inside.
Auricola, the surprise winner of the 1989 Lombard RAC Rally. He has got a bit of experience with the Lancia on a previous RAC rally, but nothing perhaps to compare with this works version. Great names that Lancia have taken to the world title. Sandro Munari back in 1977, Ewa Kankkunen in 87, Mickey Biasion 88 and 89.
Suddenly right 5. Press left 6. And left 8 long.
And Auricola is going well on the first section of the stage. Coming up is where the problems start, though, the tarmac section. Auricola having decided to use the handbrake more than Fiorio did. There you see the result. Brings the back round, and only a little bit tidier than the Italian. Now Llewellyn is fastest so far down this opening part of the stage. 1 minute 9 seconds his time to the first checkpoint. And that checkpoint coming up now. And 1 minute 9 seconds also for Auricola. Well, it was in this middle part of the stage that Llewellyn lost some time, or at least didn't go as well as he could. So it's important that Auricola keeps the power down and keeps it neat and tidy as well. And that's an elusive art which the Finn has mastered down the years. Now second check, Fiorio is the quickest so far at 1:39. And Auricola's got inside that at 1 minute 38 seconds. So now the closing part of the stage is where Fiorio was both quick and brave. Auricola's ahead, but I'm sure he's going to find it tough to stay ahead. He's going to challenge, he must keep the foot down over the jump. And the foot was hard down, but a very heavy landing indeed. Did well to keep control. Now the sprint to the finish for what could be a very good time. 2:06 the target, and he's the fastest. Auricola 2:05, and he's beaten the Lancia Works driver by a second.
Very good, that. Yeah. Much neater.
Yeah. I think there is room to go a little bit quicker in some places. I have a junction there with the service area is, I didn't do particularly good. But I didn't do very well in practice either, so, so there you are. But some of the jumps perhaps a little bit faster. Over big jump, we were quite a nose-heavy landing, and so it was good, but there was enough weight here inside the car to put it back to the road. But that's part of that. That was quite exciting. Yeah, I like to see what it looks like in film.
Well, this is how it looked from the inside. Wait for the bang as the car hits the road.
I'm very happy to do a similar time as Alex Fiorio does it, because he competes with these cars all the time. And I was very impressed about this car. It's a fairly easy car to drive, and very enjoyable, very fast.
So a stern target set by Auricola for Blomqvist and Malcolm Wilson, the other co-leaders at the end of the first stage. 2 minutes 5 seconds or better, the target first of all for Stig Blomqvist. Blomqvist giving the cameraman a bit of a fright as he got a little bit sideways off the start line. 1984 world champion, and alongside him is Benny Melander, his co-driver, when he finished an excellent 4th in the championship 2 years ago. And Blomqvist, of course, also the reigning champion in the Mobil 1 Rally Challenge. Four-wheel drive and left-hand drive, a familiar combination to the Swede. And interesting to see how he handles that tarmac section that neither Fiorio or Auricola got right. And he seemed a lot straighter, a lot neater, and no doubt a lot quicker. And the first check time might tell us that he's quickest so far through this opening mile. 1 minute 9 seconds, a time for both Auricola and Llewellyn through this section. Timing point is coming up now. And, well, Blomqvist isn't faster, 1 minute 9 as well. He seems to be driving well within himself, so maybe he's got a chance to really challenge Penty for what could be the overall lead. Penty down to the next check in 1:38. That check is now, and Blomqvist has lost time. He's dropped a second behind Auricola. And remembering how Penty went through that last half mile, I think that he's going to find it very, very hard to get that second back. 2 minutes 5 seconds is the time that he's got to beat. That's Auricola's time. Coming up to the jump, and not quite so ambitious there. That 2 minutes 5 seconds looks safe at this point. And Blomqvist is 2:07. He drops into third place behind Fiorio. 1 to go. And that's Malcolm Wilson.
Looking forward to driving the car. I mean, it was nice to get in the car this morning. There's one little tricky bit down there that's a little bit apprehensive about. If you cut the corner too tight, there's the problem where David had his problem. So we'll see how it goes.
Wilson referring to that bump in the track where Llewellyn put the car on 2 wheels.
2, 1, go. 80, careful, right.
There was barely 10 stage miles on this event. You can't really afford not to attack. And Wilson with co-driver Nicky Grist, part of that 3-way tie for the lead after the first stage in North Wales. And the British driver certainly with the ability to break the deadlock. Britain's top-seeded driver in World Championship rallying.
40.
No Lancia experience, but the stage by this point in the competition should be scrubbed pretty clean. It should potentially be very, very quick.
And flat right of the ground to K, easy left, 30. K, fast K left, long.
Well, it looks as if Wilson is saving most of his caution for the second part of the stage because he's attacking hard at this point. Let's hope he's not attacking too hard with the surface having changed from gravel to tarmac and back to gravel again in just a few yards. But he's round all that very neatly and very possibly quicker than the others.
To left, Max, 40.
Let's remind you of that target, 1 minute 9 seconds for the first part of the stage. A time shared by Llewellyn, Auricola and Blomqvist.
40, easy right.
That checkpoint is here and Wilson is inside the time by a second. Wilson fastest by 1 second. And if he keeps up that form, well, he's the new leader of the Mobil 1 Rally Challenge.
Absolute left, over crest, keep in. Flat left, long,
but so many places you can lose time from now on. Penty Auricola was fastest down this next section. He was through the next timing check in 1 minute 38.
Cut flat right. 70 over crest. Fast left.
And Wilson has dropped a second in the last half mile. He's now tied with Auricola's intermediate time on 1 minute 38. And once again, remember just how brave and how bold Auricola was down the closing part of the stage. I wonder if Wilson can match that. Is he going to be flat out over the jump? Well, all 4 wheels were off the ground, but only the clock will tell us how committed he was. 2 minutes 5 seconds, Auricola's target time to beat.
70.
And Wilson punches the air, but he's missed it by a second. Auricola leads the competition by that 1 second.
I think on the asphalt, the really bad downhill, the 2 really tight Ivan's long fast K corners. And I went into them to try and be neat, to try and just keep the car straight and not move around too much. And I think maybe just slow down a little bit. Very neat round, and it was nice, but I think in this sort of competition you've got to be a little bit more ambitious, but if you just step over it, it's very easy to sort of half spin and lose that vital second. And maybe the jump a little bit. I mean, Nicky said absolute crest, and he was sort of knocking me to say, come on, you know, it's absolute, but I think you've got to be very brave. I know I watched Penty over there and he didn't lift, but I'm afraid if I can't see the road, there's got to be a little bit of apprehension there.
Understandable apprehension, but Auricola got away with it. And as a result, he won the stage from Malcolm Wilson, who shared second place with the works driver, Alex Fiorio. Just 1 second settled it. But the 3-way tie for the lead is sorted out in the overall competition. Auricola leads Wilson by a second. Stig Blomqvist 1 second further back, and 3 stages still to come. The third stage stays in Yorkshire from four-wheel drive to front-wheel drive and the Vauxhall Nova. Now here's a car that looks an innocent little machine after the power of the Lancia, but it really rewards pure driving talent, which is what this competition is trying to pinpoint. And get it wrong, the consequences are the same. The Vauxhall Nova, deep in Wycombe Forest.
Part 3 of the Rally Challenge can be enjoyed at the same time tomorrow. Coming up next, the final round of the European Cup, which will determine who makes it to Paris for the semi-final.